Okay, if you would like to introduce yourself, that would be cool. If not, it's okay.
Okay, my name is Jennifer Eileen Mitchell.
So how were you affected by drugs or alcohol during your childhood or even teenage years?
So alcohol affected me because my parents were alcoholics. Drugs affected me because I started smoking when I was 13. Didn't quit until I was in my late 30s. And the only drugs I ever really did was marijuana.
What were you kind of persuaded to do smoking or alcohol or marijuana by yourself, or were you kind of
My peers.
your peers?
I would say my peers. And then, watching my mom and dad do it, I thought it was an okay thing to do. So I started drinking when I was 12.
So you would say you're very influenced by your friends, family.
Yeah, as a teenager I was. As a child and a teenager.
Would you say there was any peer pressure involved, or no?
No, I'm going to say peer pressure. I think it was my own choice, just wanting to experiment and see what it was about. Because seeing other people do it, other friends do it, you thought it was a cool thing to do because they were doing it. So you would experiment.
It's more of like a fitting in thing almost, or what would you say about that?
Definitely to find friends and to fit in. Yes, you went along with the crowd.
Obviously, you started at a pretty young age. How has that affected you into your adult life? Maybe.
I don't like to do it now. One day I was drinking with a bunch of friends. I was in my 20s, and then I had an allergic reaction to the alcohol, and it gave me a rash, and my throat started to close, and it was like an allergic reaction. And I had prayed every night when I was a child to please not let me be like my mom and my dad and drink like that. So I think that was God's way of showing me that I shouldn't be doing that. So I didn't then again start drinking alcohol until I was in my 40s. It was not a good way to grow up. There was a lot of anxiety, a lot of not knowing what was going to happen from one day to another. And it was just not, I had a good childhood, I would say. My mom and dad were good people. It was just unpredictable. It was like walking on eggshells. Had children that used some hardcore drugs, and that affected all of us, especially, kids hide things, so you didn't always know what they were doing, but you would hear from other people. It's a small town. That affected me. It affected their dad. It affected their stepdad. It affected the little kids that were in the house. I had to make sure I had to cut ties a few times so they wouldn't be around my younger children.
Have you been close to anybody that has had anything like that happen to them with drugs or alcohol, or like been seriously hurt by it, or?
Well, yeah, I've had friends that have gotten in car accidents from drinking and driving.
Would you say if you could go back and maybe tell yourself, hey, don't smoke or don't drink, would you do that?
Absolutely.